dark tunnel. I can't really see anything else. And so there seems to be no hope for the future. I want to call up somebody and reach out to somebody, but I don't think anybody will help me because it's nothing. I can't see anything in the ahead of me only. I want to switch off all the lights and sit in one corner of my room and not move. I don't care about eating food. I can drink a lot so that I can numb the pain, so I don't feel the pain anymore. And another feeling that I get is that, yeah, this is all I do. I just sit in one place and drink and wallow in my misery. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy to be meeting people. I'm not a good example for anybody. These are the three main thoughts that take over a person and when they're at the highest risk of suicide. The first one, where there's no hope for the future, is called hopelessness. The thought that there's no point of reaching out to anybody because no one can help is called helplessness. And the feeling that I'm not good enough is called hopelessness. But the good thing is, and I think I've represented a little bit through that cloudy image there, is that it's not all black. Sometimes the clouds part, and sometimes there's a little bit of white there. Or sometimes it's light gray and not dark gray. That on some days, I don't feel as bad as I feel on other days. I'm not as miserable. There is an uncertainty. So the day I can get up and do one thing, I don't feel as worthless. But depression is completely debilitating. It saps out all your energy, all your hope. I don't know how many of you will understand my Harry Potter reference, but a Dementor attack is how a lot of people, including the writer, speaks about depression. That it sucks out all the positive from you. So this is a person who has no positive left inside of him, cannot feel anything happy. And in that despair, there doesn't seem to be any other option. So why does a person reach this place? And why I was saying, and a lot of other people have also been saying that there are many, many reasons why people ultimately die by suicide or attempt suicide. And the many, many reasons are in front of you. There are many more, but I thought we'd at least look at these. If you've had a family history of someone who has either a mental illness, an addiction, or has died by suicide or attempted suicide, you are at a greater risk for having such difficult experiences yourself in your life. So there definitely is a genetic component. Then depression is biochemical in nature. That's why medications do work. That's why we know that for depression you take medications. If you've yourself had these thoughts before, had these suicidal thoughts before, or tried to complete a suicide before, then you are again at a higher risk. If you're have had a history of using alcohol or drugs, you're at a higher risk, and a history of mental health problems. But at the current time, people who are going through something in courts, who are going through a legal battle, who are seeing financial loss, who are going through relationship breakups, who've lost people to death, are at a great risk. I want to also say ongoing trauma. Adolescents who are being bullied, children who are being sexually abused. There is something that they're fearing on a daily basis. There is ongoing trauma. Women who have a violent relationship in their marriage, women who are being emotionally abused, or partners who are being emotionally abused, locked up in the house, not allowed to leave. There is ongoing trauma. Every day is a new stressor. These people are at a higher risk. If in my depressive state, to cope with the thoughts that I'm having, I'm going to drink or use drugs, then I've lost that capacity to make logical decisions because I'm in those intoxicated states. A lot of impulsive decisions to die come from these spaces. So while some suicides are impulsive in their nature, those are a very small minority. The largest number of impulsive suicides happen under the influence of substances. And lastly, if I know that there are some things I can take in terms of some drug overdose or some weapons at home, and I know there's nobody monitoring, I'm completely isolated, then I am more vulnerable. And these are questions that you all asked also, that how do we know if somebody, is showing signs of suicide? And I want us to think, have we ever also been in those spaces, as difficult as a question as it is? But signs that all is not well is at a point when I want to go sit in that corner in my room with the lights off, where I'm feeling excessively sad. I don't really bother too much about taking a bath, combing my hair, changing my clothes. I'm not really eating too well. I've lost a lot of weight. I don't really get sleep. I started taking substances to cope better. Not really worrying too much about how much I'm looking here and there before I cross the road, because there's no point really in doing it the right way. So there does seem to be some recklessness that comes up, or somebody starts giving up some valuables. These are all really quite strong signs. And again, some of the thoughts is what we've put up there, that what's the point? It's never going to get better. That's hopelessness again for you. And I can't see a way out. They'll be better off without me. Again, a sense that stems out from blame, from worthlessness, and it's all my fault. This was very interesting. I saw this online and I thought I would like to share this, that at that point, because the vision is so tunneled, one feels like they want to end their life and that's it. There is no alternative. There don't seem to be any other solutions, and there is no other way of thinking about it. Maybe if they spoke to somebody, if we could help, we would show them that there are other ways of thinking about it. That what I actually want to end is this sense of hopelessness. Maybe if somebody could show me that there is some hope. And if I get on a call with a friend and the friend is able to instill some hope, that would be very useful. I'm not beyond help. I'm not that helpless. There is somebody who actually answers my phone and is there for me. So if you deal with each of these aspects, then suicide can really be worked past. It can be in a dark place that we were in, but we aren't anymore. So there is really a sense to talking about recovery from that place. And it's not as though somebody who has been suicidal once can never really come out of that state.
Please feel free to reach out to us about any queries you might have about depression, suicide, or mental health in general. And before you go, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our Therapeut channel. Thanks for watching. See you very soon.